St. Francis de Sales, who's going to be kind of our model for this month and a half. He said this, he said, the Christian life requires strategy. Like if we have that goal to be a saint, we need strategy, we need a how, we need a plan. Because it's one thing to say, be who you are and be that well, and it is entirely another thing to actually become that. So, as I said, before the plan, before the how, we had to be reminded last week of who. Because our identity always comes before our action. Like our being always comes before our doing. Or else this whole life, the whole plan, the whole roadmap, if we don't get the who right, if we don't get our identity right, that you are a child of God, that God is your dad, and that you are in relationship with him, if we don't get that, then the entire Christian life, then this whole roadmap just becomes a series of hoops to jump through. It's just boxes to check off. And actually Francis de Sales talks about that. He makes the distinction between false devotion or false holiness and true devotion or true holiness. And he says that sometimes we fall into the trap of thinking that true devotion is disciplinary acts or charitable acts or spiritual acts. So again, we think like, okay, discipline acts. Those are like, I fast a lot. So that's holiness, right? And he says, no. Or charitable acts, like I give a lot. So that's holiness. And he's like, no. Or spiritual acts, I pray a lot. And St. Francis de Sales says, no, actually, those things are good and we'll do those things. But if all we do is check boxes, that's false devotion, that's false holiness. It has to get to our heart. In fact, Francis de Sales, the third quote of the day for Francis de Sales, he said this, he says, whoever has won a man's heart has won over the whole man. Whoever has won over a person's heart has won over the whole person. And so we just point to what Jesus has done for us. That in becoming incarnate, becoming one of us, and God himself becoming one of us, and then allowing our life to overwhelm him, the sufferings of this life to overwhelm him, just in order to do what? In order to reclaim us. We allow that to overwhelm us. We allow that to conquer us. In fact, when you've met him, when you've met his love, when you become convinced of his unstoppable and unconditional love, we realize you've been claimed. In fact, you've been reclaimed by love. And so then the spiritual acts aren't hoops to jump through, not checks, the box to check off. They are the actions of someone who, when you win a person's heart, you've won the whole person. That when you've been reclaimed by Jesus, he gives you a new life. He makes you into a new who, and also he gives a new why.